Hi guys, this is Mike Harnett from NFE Systems. Welcome to the third video in our series on Burp Suite. Now today's lesson we're going to be looking at the Intruder tab. So last lesson we were talking about the repeater, which is what we use for manual testing. So the Intruder tab is what we use to automate the testing. Right, so under this tab we've got four separate tabs: target, positions, payloads and options. So the first thing we want to do is go to proxy, make sure that intercept is on, and we go to our web page, which is a login page. So I want to just put user in the username field and pass in the password field. That way when I send it to the repeater or send it to the intruder, I know which parameters are which. So if I click login, we'll see that yep, we've intercepted that login page, and we can see that username equals user and password equals pass. So we right click, send to intruder, and the intruder light will light up. Now it will automatically populate the target position with the information from the request, so the host name and the port it's sending to. Positions, we see the main body. We see that the post request is in the main body of this tab, and we can see that all the parameters have been selected. They've got squiggly lines either side each of the parameters. So we want to clear those off because we're only interested in the user. So we double click that and click add, and the pass for the password, click add there. So we've got the two options. Your username and password have been selected. Now you look up top here, we've got attack type. There's four attack types: sniper, battering ram, pitchfork and cluster bomb. Now the top two you can only use one payload against, whereas the bottom two you can use up to 20 payloads. So we're going to leave it on sniper at the moment. I'm going to go to payloads, and we see under here, yep, there is only one payload available. So there's a payload type, there's a pre-populated list of items, dates, numbers, brute force, character blocks, there's username generators. There's a whole host of stuff you can use here, but for this example I'm just going to load a users file. So I've created a text file, put a couple of usernames in it. That's what we're going to use as an example for this. So click on users, click open, and we can see it's put in user 1 to user 6 and the admin. Okay, now underneath here we've got payload processing. So this gives us options what we want to do on each time we send a request. So we can add a prefix. So you could add a backslash or anything you needed to add before the stuff you're adding in, or you could add a suffix. So if you want to add .php to all the words, after that you do that there. You can match and replace words. You can encode things. There's lots of stuff you can do. But yeah, we're not going to bother doing that today. So if we go to the options tab, we see it's ticked to say update content length header. So because we're sending multiple different types of data to the server, that's going to the content length of that request is going to change. So Burp will automatically calculate that on the fly and update the content length header. Underneath you've got request engine. This allows us to start throttling. So by default number of threads is 5, and it's currently throttling set to 0. So a lot of sites you're going to find, if you send too much data immediately, you're going to get throttled or blocked. So this gives us the option. We can change it to it's in milliseconds, so we can change it to 3000. So that will send a request every 3 seconds. You can change it to whatever you need to do, depending on how the site handles it. We're going to leave that as 0 at the moment, though. So go back to payloads. No, go back to position. Sorry, you've got sniper. So we're going to start the attack. This is on sniper. So we'll see that it's going to run through twice. So the first time it ran through, it's picking up user 1. It's picking up payload. The only payload we're using is users at the moment. So the first one, if we scroll down to the parameters, we're saying username 1. So user 1, user 2. Let's make that a bit clearer. So it's only actually updating the first parameter that we've selected. It's just iterating through all of the usernames. Once it's gone through once, it will then change to the second parameter. So and it will run through that. So that is the sniper attack. So we close this window down. Go back to battering ram. Click start attack. So this time it's only going to run through once. So if we highlight what it's doing, what it's going to do here is it's going to put the first payload into all of the parameters we selected. So we see user 1, user 1, user 2, user 2 down the bottom here. And it's just going to iterate all through those and just put the same payload in each one of them, going through the entire list. Now, if we close that down, now we want to go to pitchfork. So if we click Start Attack now, we get an error message saying payload 2 has not been defined. So at the moment we've only got one payload. So if we go back to payloads, we do the drop down list, we can see there's now an option for number 2. So we select number 2 and we're going to load a password file up. So if we go to pass.txt, click open, now we see the list of passwords that I created in my text file. Pass1 to pass8 and admin. So that's okay. So we're now going to click on Start Attack. So we're starting the attack now. And that's done the same thing again. It's just gone through once. It's picked the top entry from payload 1 and the top entry from payload 2. So user 1 and pass 1. Then it's going to go and pick the second one from each. The third one, the fourth one, the fifth one, the sixth one, the seventh one. So it's just picking the same one, putting it, picking the same one from each. So that is the pitchfork. Now the cluster bomb is the one we're actually really interested in. We click Start Attack now. What it's going to do now, it's going to iterate through, and it's going to start off with the first password in the list, which was the second payload, and it's going to run every single username against that password. So user 1 through to admin using the first password. Then it's going to pick the second password, and you go through all the user list and try that second password. Now this is what people try to do, because if you're using the same password and you're trying loads of passwords, if you're using the same username and trying loads of passwords against it, you're going to lock the account out, or you're going to highlight that someone's trying to do an attack on that account. So this way, you're trying the same password with each individual user. So if you've got a lot of users you're trying the account with, by the time it gets back to the second password on that first user account, it's going to be probably quite a while, so it's not going to lock the account out. That's basically what we do for the Intruder tab. Now you've got the highlights, the results tab here. The things we're looking for is the status code or any changes basically in the response. So in this scenario, we're getting a 200 for all of these, and we're getting the same content length 50826. So if we scroll down and look to see what we're getting, so all is exactly the same until we get to the end, which is where the username of admin and the password of admin, we're getting a 302, which is a redirect to a different site, and we see that the content length is different, and this actually turns out to be the actual password. We're not going to go too much into the workings of it, because I'll be discussing all this in the series I'm having on web application testing. This is just really to give you an idea of how to use the Intruder tab. Now hopefully that's been useful for you. If you've enjoyed it, please click the like button and please subscribe. Cheers guys, thanks, bye.